Hello and welcome. Here we are getting ready for a little bit of Thunder Cup action. Of course, my name is TAKAE and with me I have the lovely Highland Wolf. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good today. Of course, we are early in the morning, so it's a little bit different, casting at a different time, of course. But I am super excited because guess what, DK? We have some top tier teams already coming into this lobby. And when I say top tier, I mean the very best, the world class finalist teams of both 4 Angry Men and Zeus, but also joining up here is a team that really excites me, TSM Entity, now going to be joining in as well.
Yeah, so definitely looking to see a little bit of crazy, insane action to come in as the teams, of course, are going to be making their way on through across the maps here today, across the games, and of course, you know, as you said, bringing us some nice world-class action.
World-class action, and guess what, we have 4 games of it as well. We have 4 games of world-class action, DK, and as we prepare ourselves, as we ready ourselves to get straight down onto the green hills of Erangel, oh man, am I excited, because this is the first time I get to see both 4 Angry Men and Zeus in competitive play, and yes, it's going to be in the Thunder Cup, no less, and I think that coming in now, in the summer of 2021, I'm excited also to see how they've improved coming out of the World Finals of 2021 back in January. And if they have improved it all, and if they can match up to the scale of a bunch of other teams that we, of course, have in this lobby as well. Not just the world-class teams, but we've got, of course, teams from all over Asia when it even comes to the likes of teams other Indian teams of Global Esports, ANGKOR Esports, Blind, and ITBF Dominator, all of these Indian squads joining in. And for me, I'm excited to see what these Indian squads can do. And personally, already coming off of the PMPL Arabia, even a Galaxy race is something that really shows what the actually Indian teams can bring.
Yep, so expecting a really, really strong gameplay today here, as we've got quite a nice selection of teams also in the lobby. We have the players here from TSM Entity. We have Zeus in the lobby. We got the SKYLIGHT gaming team. We've got the 4 Angry Men. We got the EVOS, REBORN. We got the DRS gaming. We have Eagle 365 as well as 21 Esports. We got TAKAE Esports, we got Orange Esports, FS 1952, the Indian Tigers. We got the ANGKOR Esports team as well, the Revenants. We have the players there from BURIRAM Esports, the Myths, E29. Of course, we have the ITBF Dominators in the mix as well. So really strong showing that we've got. And I'm really keen to see exactly where everyone is going to be going. Of course, that we have that flight path coming in from over towards the Nova crates, heading up into pretty close next up to Zaki. So definitely an interesting flight path to get things underway. But of course, now looking at where the teams have dropped, are we expecting to see any crazy early game engagements to come from this one?
Early game engagement, personally, of course, you look, I think, towards definitely that south end of the zone when you do actually specifically look at the south coastal line. And I think actually very interesting to me is the side of FS and what they are actually going to be bringing to the table. Because when you do look at FS 1952, they are very lucky in a way that actually E365, they don't decide to hold on to that southern coastal line, especially considering that C-Wine is very split from the rest of their team. It could have been a little bit dangerous, judging by how far they are close to the edge and where they actually need to move up towards that central point.
Yeah, and of course now, I mean, looking at Orange as well, you know, they started things off right here in the mix, already picking up the first 4 kills, or 4 of the first kills right here out of the gate. But of course, so many engagements already just finding their way on through as all these teams are just all pushing up together. And I'm really impressed with the amount of crazy early game action we have so far.
And when you speak about that early game action, DK, of course, you look towards the likes of Milta as well. And you look actually, of course, to both App and also towards Brew, because these two teams are obviously teams that we don't know much about, and I'm excited also to see when it comes to the aggression levels of these teams and what they are looking to bring to the table. Because when you do think about teams like Four Angry Men, what comes to your mind is the word aggression. What comes to your mind is that perfect team who did, even in the World League qualifying stage, get that top spot. And heading into the World Finals, were a favorite team. And yes, they didn't win it all, but certainly hungry for that victory when it comes into this year, into these competitions.
Yep. So, I mean, just riding on top of that, you know, there's such a high expectation coming in, you know. You're expecting to see that momentum continue, expecting, well, not the momentum, but kind of, you know, they've built up that reputation. We're expecting to see a specific kind of level of play coming from them. So really curious to see just exactly what these teams are going to be doing. Whether or not we're going to have that step up come in, you know, have that kind of show come in once again, or whether or not we could maybe see something different.
And of course, when we say about something different, even looking towards the likes of Team Secret in this game and looking at how they will perform in this lobby as well. Because when I do think of Team Secret overall, we know the organization are one of the bigger ones in esports and what they can specifically bring. Because I don't know, as we say, it is shrouded in mystery, all of these teams. And this first game definitely decides it all for me, the first impressions of these teams. And unfortunately, yes, some of them had gone out. And a team that also does speak to me because of the fact that they have been picking up these kills, of course, is Orcs. And if they can continue that momentum coming out of those 4 kills in the early stage and then keep that ball rolling towards that mid game.
Well, we're definitely going to be sitting here keeping a very watchful eye on everybody, looking to see what they will be bringing as we make our way through. Of course, this is only the first phase, the first zone. We still have 1 minute and 20 seconds or so left on the clock before that blue zone starts closing up. But I mean, we've seen so much action. And speaking of which, as we head on over towards the Western Bridge, right, we can see the players here already from FS 1952 just holding on the edge of the zone. We've got a few more teams right up ahead of them. Of course, the players there from the EVOS REBORN. You can see now just trying to move into a good angle, a good position up in towards that, you know, Ferry Pier region. But of course, just a little bit further over towards the eastern side from them, we see the players there from Blind also just taking up that position, patiently waiting in the vicinity, looking to see what will be coming from that, what will be happening. And that, of course, also, you know, the players then from the Revenant Esports team.
And of course, something we should mention here is the positioning coming out of SS 1952, because yes, that zone has come down from the South Island. So you do expect, if you are FS 1952, that there could be a team approaching out of that South Island. So gatekeeping that away is a smart decision. And I like that positioning with this 2-1-1 split, because what we have noticed, that of course, as you say, EVOS REBORN, they're now forced to go on that wide flank because of the position. And because of the fact that FS, they control the hillside coming into the forest, and they control that high ground more specifically. So the information, the power in their hands, and they're now forcing EVOS on that wider flank. And I expect EVOS on that wider flank to maybe approach coming out of Gatka Field to make that entrance in directly to the center portion of that western side, then maybe head their way possibly through Gatka Fields in towards either the edge of Ruins or into the edge of Pachinki and scout out from there. I think Ruins is much more safer to do, considering that also this zone, the center point of it is around that school side area. So Ruins to school, especially Watertown in between, it makes a good location to step-by-step edge your way into zone.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking about edging away, we see the players now once again, they're from FS 1952, just pushing up through the zone as they make their way on in, you know, looking for that positioning. But of course, we have the players there from Revenant Esports just hovering it down over towards a more southern position there. So looking to see whether or not we'll be having any of those engagements start coming through, you know, start bringing any of those extra additional thing, you know, those positional plays looking for a little bit of aggression.
Course, look at aggression though specifically, and look at the way that Four Angry Men are positioning. Now, Four Angry Men and Zeus, they both started around Georgia Pole. Four Angry Men, they started on the north side, and I like their heads-up play to make that early decision rotation through into the main entrance space of a wrangle, because when you do control that bridge heading in to Yasnaya Polyana, you not only have the Yasnaya Polyana option, but also Rostov can, you of course assume that they have done that scouting and have now been able to scout out the fact that possibly Rostov, Yasnaya Polyana, they could be free. And not only do they control a city heading in now to the next phase 2 as that zone does begin to shrink, but they're also dodging out on that specific congestion just south of those compounds where you do see the likes of many more of these teams up front and personally against each other.
I mean, looking to see now, just jumping up on towards Potato Hill, right? We see a little bit of action now coming in here as well, as we got so many teams again, you know, just starting to light things up. We see this positional play coming in here, as we of course have the players from Zeus just on the edge, looking to gain a little bit of an entry point onto the players here. Once again now from FS 1952, and I mean quite a nice exchange we have. Nice little bit of back and forth as we see Tofik taking a little bit of damage in the process. Entry also not looking too great on the health.
Unfortunately here for FS 1952, as you say, already losing to positioning. But it is now, of course, up to TSF to see what they can bring through this initial damage. And I think because no one, of course, has been knocked, it does make it still difficult to engage. And especially because they're coming up to Potato Hill, but also leaving Pachinki. You do understand, if you're a member of TFS, that your time in this position is limited, DK. You cannot stay in between these two spaces. You have to choose one. And as a result, that's why actually you have to be so careful as you rotate your way back down.
Yeah, definitely going to be an interesting one to watch. But now, as we look a little bit further up in towards the north, close towards shooting range Savoni, we see a nice little bit of a congestion, a little bit of potential action coming in between the teams as they too now start to make their way on through. You know, we see that rotation come in as they close the gap, get ever closer to each other, and of course looking to see exactly where that now will take us, and of course who is going to be the one to claim control right at the top of the hill here.
Of course, when you do think about the top of that hill, though, Tarzan, and you think about the likes of course, VPE, SG, they're up against the VPE. They're the ones taking the knocks down the north side of Severny. They're the ones that are now going to be decimating SKYLIGHT's gaming, and unfortunately for them, SKYLIGHT's do lose a second player. Now you do see Slayer. They're looking for that revive. However, Slayer is on the other side of the hill, so are the members now bleeding out. So we're just going to be down to those two members. Down to the one is now also, it will be BJ getting knocked.
Oh, here we go. Oh, here we go. The action is coming. Let's see who will be the one to grab the Slayer now. Just trying to play around the edge of the rock, but up they come. Jump shot. Beautiful knock in the process. Oh, but gets picked on up right there. Fluke coming in with a beautiful shot on towards Slayer, and of course just wrapping up that team kill, bringing in the points. But of course now, speaking about team kills, speaking about points, as we look over towards the players here from TSM, we see Zygot now just picking up a nice confirm in the process there, as we have the teams of course now trying to push in from the edge of the zone, looking to make that entry point. Already have so many teams already pretty well positioned within the current zone. Right, I'm curious to see of course where they're going to be moving to.
Yeah, of course, when you do look at the side of that northern end, big smart play there, of course, to take one extra down from SKYLIGHT Gaming, knowing that we were going to go out and getting that extra point on board. But also, as you say, about this congestion, the likes of TSM coming down from this northeastern side, it does interest me, because what they are, of course, going to look to do is control this island around these roads, and they're going to look to try contest these teams away from the position to then later on, if they need to, centralize up even further towards actually where, of course, E365 are. They have potentially that vision to do so, but it is a weird split coming through here from Neo now going on the flank end, and of course getting punished for that, for Angry Men already set up in defense, and they'll take that free kill.
Oh, I mean, it is pretty crazy to see. I mean, we've seen such a strong play as well coming in from the players from the 4 Angry Men in past games, and now TSM just there on the edge. I mean, this is, for me, going to be a very interesting engagement, as this is such a highly contested angle here. We see so many teams, of course, just spread out throughout the map. I mean, we see some shots coming in on towards the players here, of course, from the Indian Tigers, and that, of course, being in the center portion of the zone. But I think it's going to be a difficult one to defend. Looking at the amount of teams we have in the vicinity, where everyone is positioned, it's going to be super, super tough. But of course, now, speaking about tough, here we go. Tao from the 4 Angry Men now starting to apply that pressure onto the side of TSM.
Unfortunately for TSM, of course, TSM and TV did lose their first player. They lost it already. And now, as this 3-man squad, 4 Angry Men, they've been able to push on the weak side with that knocked player, with that down member. And now they have got to retreat. They have got to set up position on the edge of the island. It's not only going to be them that control it. Yes, they get a couple of good shots through onto one of the members for Angry Men initially, but because it's no knock, it's still that 4v3 advantage. And I like actually specifically what Zhao Min is looking to do off that flank side, is going to try draw out the members of TSM, is doing so. So understanding that you're just going to scout, and now you're just going to reset and try to look for another angle into the fight.
Oh, and look for the angle. They shall, as you can see, of course. Now, quick move in behind the compound. Looking to just smoke it up, just to get that extra bit of cover going in. Looking to make that play. But of course, now this is where we see TSM moving up, applying that a bit of pressure off their own, as we see ZGOD just looking around, circling up. The shots just lasering their way on through, as SKYLIGHT now gets picked up in the process. 2 players now remain for the side here of TSM, and of course this is where we see those health bars really start to drop. Everything now riding on the side here of ZGOD as the 4 Angry Men push up, apply that pressure, picking up SKYLIGHT in the process. Now we look to see whether or not ZGOD will be able to make this one work. It is right here on the edge. Finds a beautiful angle. Picking up the first one, of course. Now, there we go. Picking up Trace in the process. The shots finding their way on through. Tao looking to apply that pressure once again. Also looking to pick up that raise. But here we go. The shots come on through. ZGOD with a little bit of shot from behind the tree. Oh, down they go. TSM get picked up 4 Angry Men, sending them right back into the lobby. What a tough engagement that was.
It looked initially like TSM could turn that one. You had, of course, ZGOD at the end, but it's all off that start of the play there, DK. It's the fact that TSM, they looked a little bit lost with how they wanted to set up on that fight. In 4 Angry Men, they just took them for a ride, and they spun them into the dirt. TSM already down in that 15th position, but we still have 14 teams remaining. And as we hit over to now phase number 3, we had to move all the way back towards farm, as it will, of course, be the BURIRAM Esports taking one knock, as well as 4 Angry Men. They look like they're just going to be nading themselves. Unfortunate knock there as 3 of them go down.
Well, yeah, that is really quite unfortunate, just based off, you know, what we just saw, the play we just saw them execute there. So it's a little bit of a oof, but I mean, it is something that they are still able to come back from. But now, as we make our way through the zone, it is quite interesting to see the zone centering up over on towards that potato hill. I mean, the teams now all looking to find a good position within the zone. And of course, speaking of one of the teams here, we see the players here from ANGKOR now also looking to rotate in. Really getting a little bit of a move up here. Already only just sitting on 1 kill for the game so far, right? So expecting to see potentially maybe a few more come in for them.
ANGKOR taking advantage of what was a little bit of a disastrous mistake from 4 angry men, but never mind, they will not be able to find any kills because the revives did come through in time, despite the fact that one of their players, Zero, is going to look to try pick them off, does find one in the end, so it will be 4 angry men reduced to just a trio. But we also look even towards E29 over in Pachinki. They're taking their own fight.
Oh, and here we go. We got the team from Zeus, of course, right there up ahead of them. But things are looking pretty tough, pretty heated over in it towards Pachinki. I mean, we also have the players there from what is this? This is the team, of course, from the BURIRAM. Right here, just holding on. You know, just applying that extra little bit of spice coming in from that southern side of Pachinki, as they now, of course, start making this slight bit of rotation through, looking to maybe get a little bit more aggressive as we see them push up in the direction here of the players from Zeus. So definitely looking to see what is going to happen, and will they be able to find those angles though?
This was a crucial knockdown in one of the members there by E29 onto Team Secret. And Team Secret, as a result, they now have only that 2-1 split left. They no longer have that off angle onto E29. So they are in this tricky position of being pinched inside of Pachinki. Their off member now goes down. They will be able to find it. It will be E29 to take that once more, as that will be the second knock for them. But now we are left with Team Secret. They have to make that rotation in. They know as a duo they cannot defend their position. There's no way out either, being stuck on the edge of the zone and being in the only real positional compound inside this zone. Yes, you've got Roshawk, Fit 4 Angry Men up north control, but other than that, it's just a few series of buildings scattered across that road line.
Yeah, it is going to be a tough one here for Team Secret. So definitely going to be looking to see what they will be doing in the situation. All right, they, of course, now already managed to pick up the res. So now bringing the numbers back up to 3. But that is also just in the nick of time, as we have even more teams, of course, now starting to close in to this whole region, this whole Pachinki section. But of course, now looking over towards the players here from BURIRAM. They're looking to play on the edge, as we have the players there from the Myth now starting to move up a little bit closer, applying a little bit of uncomfortable pressure. It's expecting to see, you know, the shots come on through.
The Myth, yes, they take control of the gutters, but DK, there's no real way inside, and I don't like this positioning because particularly when you do think of ITBF on that offside, they are still going to be in a position where they can actually get shot down, and they still need to now make it across that open fields where it is all flat to get inside this next phase zone. I understand that you anchor your position on the edge of Pachinki for now, but it only buys you minimal time. The strategy that these teams should be going for is something that buys them a lot more space and a lot more time. Indeed, as you can see, you have got one member inside, but instantly they get punished, and that's what's awaiting the rest of this team.
Oh man, what a tough rotation, what a tough angle it is to be playing in. Of course, now as we can see here, Myth now just looking to find that position, looking to just evade the damage for the time being, but it is going to be an exceptionally difficult angle to hold, as we just see a crazy play coming in here from Team Secret now, taking aim, looking to pick up any kills they can, and a really good positional play that we have here from them. This edge on the building on the edge of the field here, absolutely beautifully done.
This setting up on the edge, so beautiful, as you do say. But when I also think, of course, of Team Secret's positioning, they are, of course, going to be overlooking a lot of these teams. So the potential for kills, the potential for gatekeep is also there. I think the other strong positioner, of course, we do have to look at is the still likes of FS 1952, still E365 over on that Potato Hill, because that high ground advantage still, of course, comes into play, especially when this zone is so tight, and especially also when you do have two more teams to coming in that route as well. Both not only, of course, the side of DRG, but indeed for Angry Men. They're going to look to make their assault. They do very quickly realize there is a player there. They lose one for it, but they still make that 2 rest member rotation all the way up towards that northern side instead.
Yeah, and of course now they move from the one point of contention right up in towards the next. Now looking to take up a spot close to school, but of course now aborting on that plan as they figure out that it is already occupied. We can see the shots now, of course, flying up in towards South. But so far also not a bad match so far for them. Managing to pick up 4 kills, as we saw not too long ago, finding a beautiful squad wipe. But now I'm looking to see, of course, what the players here from ANGKOR are going to be doing. Will we see ANGKOR just step up and find those hits in towards the 4 Angry Men? Because so far, things are looking pretty good. They've been able to apply the pressure, picking up quite a few shots in their direction. You can see Lu now taking a considerable amount of damage. Tao now also coming under a little bit of fire. Now, Shroud, Zeus, Zero. Looking to find those shots and wrap this up. Get the confirms in. And of course, bring in those 2 additional points.
E29 Esports here as well should be the next to fall. It will be BURIRAM taking them down, gatekeeping them away. They've lost 3 members so far, as well as you can see E365. They are also going to be struggling on the Potato Hill. It will be ANGKOR to try upset them. And if EVOS, should be able to try maybe find an upset in this as well, considering that they did just wipe out 1 squad, they are looking for the next. They have got an old player. They have now got to get a revive through. The healing back up. They do manage it on through to Lyzerg. But this time, in Phase 5, you can already see there's only 1 minute for these teams to make that rotation in. And especially for the likes of 4 Angry Men up against ANGKOR, these 2 teams have been pressuring their sides on the edge of zone, but they haven't really been able to settle. And because they've not been able to settle, they can't settle for also information in these later stages. There's still both of these teams coming blind from that northern side as they still make time to try catch up into that play area.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking about catching up, Potato Hill, is looking so tough as, of course, now the teams are trying to make this play. We got Orange just trying to hold the angle here, looking to see if they can pick up a few more of the skills. And of course, the players here from EVOS, you know, just coming in, absolutely just, you know, keeping up the pressure there. But what's going to be interesting now is the blue zone is about to start closing in. Of course, the teams now need to get moving up in towards that zone. They're going to be looking to find a good setup angle for themselves. And this is where things are going to get pretty interesting. We still have 10 teams remaining. We are in the 5th phase. And it is only going to get absolutely crazy from here, as we can see, of course, now the players here from BURIRAM now trying to find that possession. The shots come on through as we see the ITBF dominators dominating their positional play right there on the edge of that zone. But of course, on to the side here of FS 1952, things are also looking pretty tough. They're trying to contest with all these teams to find a good position, a good angle up in towards the zone. And I can tell you, this is going to be absolutely crazy here, Wolf.
It did look like EVOS could have taken that one. You saw one member of FS 1952 out of position, but yet the outside flanking member of CWine was able to help find those quick 2 knocks, despite CWine getting knocked himself now as well. To Org will go down as Orange Esports will be able to take one extra member. A grenade chucked in the good measure will be able to finish it through, and still, because the side of EVOS haven't been taken down, EVOS Reborn, they find the third pick now onto FS, and they're looking to turn this fight back, but with the plethora of smokes, the utilities have been minimized, and it's also what do EVOS have left?
Oh, I mean, well, I can tell you they had quite a bit left in that fight as they just applied themselves so beautifully to that engagement, but of course, now we look to see what the remaining 7 teams will be doing. We still have 18 players alive. Of course, a really, really tiny zone, less than 200 meters across. It's definitely not enough space for everyone to fit in here.
Indeed, indeed. There's still 7 teams to remain here, DK, and you can see those teams still edging their way in on the south side. That is where the congestion really is. Unfortunately, there not so much can be said for the myth. Will be the 7th place team dying through to play zone, but EVOS, they're using that time, they're using that positioning to try centralize up into zone, but to their deficit, they might just find themselves quickly cut out of the equation. KF barely surviving, Liza carefully barely surviving. The grenade maybe does finish him through. Yes, it will, and sends EVOS down to 1 player.
Oh, and of course, up comes yet another one. Oh, the players there from Team Secret looking to pick up the kills, of course, now facing quite a bit of a challenge there of their very own. You can see them now just getting eliminated, getting sent off into the lobby. And the players here from EVOS really handling themselves exceptionally well under the amount of pressure. I mean, we're still sitting on 5 teams, but these are not, 5 easy teams, you know, to be looking at. It is such an interesting, aggressive play. The strategic maneuvering we see coming in, that strategic positioning, just absolutely on point. And I mean, Wolf, this is absolutely beautiful stuff.
0 players inside the Phase 7 circle. In ANGKOR, they were the full squad, the only one remaining, but they will be belittled down to just 2 members, as their 3rd member and their 4th did get knocked. Yes, they can find the revives in, but also what can now Orange do with those knocks? Because they haven't moved from their location. The zone is still going to move its way inside, and there is nowhere for these players. And I think actually the player that I do look towards is SKYLIGHT's Gaming off angle on the low ground. Potentially could sneak in a 3rd or a 2nd position if they do keep themselves quiet and careful enough.
Yep, and of course on that one we just saw Stone getting taken out right on the spot, trying to improve that position as the blue zone, of course, is closing on in. But as we now jump over to what we have left of the ITBF Dominators, of course, their last remaining player, the Bandshahop, there we go, making their way through. Oh! But of course now Puff stepping it up, bringing in that angle, that play for the side of Orange. Really great position, finding the first one, of course, on towards Marcy. Now Shroud and Zero just up ahead. Things could get pretty tough, pretty hairy, as we got those stragglers now coming in to play. And of course, EVOS sitting on 1. We've got the players there from the ITBF Dominator sitting on 1. Orange sitting on 1. But as you've pointed out there as well now, we've got the players from ANGKOR. They came in with a full squad into this late phase, this late zone. Now being reduced down to 3. And of course, already sitting on 9 kills.
It's a numbers advantage time and time again. It is testament to success. If you can keep your full squad alive, the numbers, the options increase dramatically. And as you can see, able to pick off these solos. There goes another. Goodbye, Oranges down in third position. It is now only up to ITBF Dominator, but as a solo, there's not much they can do. There's not much in the way of course, ANGKOR. They take the first chicken dinner of the game, and they do so handedly with 11 kills.
Yeah, that was a really, really great showing coming in there. I mean, it is such an exceptional play to make it up in towards those late phases and still bring your whole squad along for the ride. I mean, I'm not surprised to see, you know, ANGKOR picking up the chicken dinner at the end of the day on this first match. But of course, we're going to be looking to see, you know, what the teams will be doing from this point on forward. You know, they've now been able to bring in a little bit of that momentum, a little bit of that flow. I'm curious to see, of course, how that will then, you know, result in the coming matches.
I think it is also a good step up from some of these unknown teams when you do think about one of the Indian squads getting their second place between ITBF. Yes, they also sneak away their 5 kills on top of it on the entrance inside. And then you also look, I think, towards Orange Esports and their ability to get into that third place, but also with a much more higher kill count than that second and first position. You, of course, look towards the 8, 9, 10, 13, 16 kills in total that they were able to bring. That's 4 squad wipes that they were able to take control of in the Oranges, but yet they couldn't bring that through to the victory because with those kills came losing members, and then it was, of course, ANGKOR with that numbers advantage by the end.
Yeah, and of course, now as we just moved down, just looking through, you know, what the teams were able to bring in this first showing, just to get a little bit of a better idea. We can see, of course, the players there from EVOS finishing up in 4th place on 5 kills. Then, of course, as we move through, we see the points just starting to find themselves in. And, of course, now, my question is, right, Wolf, looking at the results, right? Looking
Yes.
at just what we've seen from these teams, right? Are you satisfied with what we had in that last map?
I'm satisfied in the sense of teams that we didn't understand what they were going to be bringing stepped up, and actually almost in a way disappointed that a lot of the teams who came in here with big expectations, like TSM Entity, Four Angry Men, Zeus, these teams didn't perform as well. In fact, you can even see, of course, Four Angry Men falling down quite late into that game, but still not good enough in when it comes to that 9th position. Yes, they're able to pick out the 4 kills of TSM Entity, and even I think TSM Entity, the biggest disappointment of this first game initially, do need to now step themselves up in that 15th spot with no kills to their name.
Yeah, that is definitely not the way you want to find yourself. And I'm curious to see as we head on over in towards Murmur exactly how the teams will be applying themselves over on that map, you know, just how they're going to be going through it. But of course, we'll be finding out exactly what the teams are going to be doing and of course how they're going to be handling themselves right after the break as we now get ready to move in towards Miramar. So we'll be back in a short few minutes. Stay tuned and see you, of course, right back after the break. Hello and welcome back. Here we are getting straight back up into the action. Of course, ready to head on in towards those sandy dunes on the Miramar map. Of course, right here on the Esports Empire Thunder Cup. And of course, my name is TAKAE. With me is Mr. Highland Wolf. And of course, now, Wolf, we're expecting this map to be quite exciting. We've seen a strong showing already coming in on towards Erangel. But of course, now as we move up in towards Miramar, looking to see who will be able to continue on with the momentum they've been able to build up over on Erangel.
Well, it was a wrangle here, DK, that was a surprise, if anything, where it wasn't the teams like 4AM, TSM Entity, or even to an extent Team Secret that were the ones coming up strong. It was actually, on the other hand, a lot of these teams that we didn't know. They were the uncertains. Of course, when we look back, it was ANGKOR Esports who took that first game's chicken dinner with 11 kills, but then respectively, the most kills going over to Orange Esports, who picked up 4 squads, 16 kills worth of points. And now heading into Miramar, that is what I would be looking for, to see if they can carry that momentum across, because keep in mind, only 7 top teams out of this entire lobby. By the end of today, tomorrow, the next day after, these 12 games will go through to the Thunder Cup Grand Finals.
Yep, and it's definitely going to be quite exciting to see, you know, which teams will be making it through into those finals. Of course, as we've seen already, it is a highly contested lobby. A lot of pretty tough plays across the board so far. But of course, that was only on the first map. You know, we've got so many more still to come. But now, as we look over towards the flight path, we can see it coming in there from just very close to Al Azhar, making its way over towards the western side. So a fairly decent flight path to kick things off. But of course, now we look to see where the teams are going to be dropping. And of course, who's going to be fighting?
Yeah, of course, the only places here, DK, I'm used to casting with Tarzan here when we talk about Miramar, because you know what I'm missing in Miramar is the Cruz de Val love that Tarzan always brings to the table. I mean, every single map we drop on, I think honestly it's replaced his love for Oasis, is what it's done. It was always Oasis when we were back in PMCO stage, but now it's Cruz de Val, and no surprise, of course, to see teams dropping down there, and we might even see some contention over there when we do, of course, look towards SG and E29 over towards that northern end. But I was going to say, of course, back down towards the plane path, when we do think of where it is going, it is, as you say, very, very good for these teams to drop where they would like. However, for those teams who do love to drop right on the south of Miramar, the places such as Puerto Parisia, Minas del Val, Val de Mar, these locations will take a little bit of meandering through to get to initially, but I expect teams at this point and at this caliber, judging by who we have in this lobby, to be able to adjust.
Yep. Definitely looking to see, of course, now with the addition of that zone popping up in towards the north, this is definitely going to be quite a challenging zone to see exactly what the teams will be doing. And of course, looking at the spread already, we've got a huge concentration of teams already really well positioned within the zone, with the addition of a few teams just hanging about on the outskirts of zone. But of course, now as we jump up in towards that northeastern section of the zone, we see the players already here from SKYLIGHT making a little bit of a move, you know, just looking to get into the compounds. They already were able rather to pick up a few hits in the process onto the players there from E29. So looking to see whether or not they'll be able to continue on with that. Of course, some nice early game aggression.
SKYLIGHT, it will be, if they can continue with that one knock, turn it into something more. They of course do find Cody, so they do take down the second, and yes, they do continue that aggression across, and this surely will be E29 now on the back pedals, making their way surely towards the zone, more so maybe eyeing up Cruz de Val for an early looting up phase. Of course, you cannot really take too much, but as I say, that is off the off angle. We do find one nevertheless. Lyson and Surtees still able to find the first knock onto Jersey. However, I do expect it to go a little bit longer. And when we look towards down actually inside the zone, Happy ended up passing on the biggest beeline for all of these teams to be going towards. And it was an interesting split early on actually from Team Secret. What they chose to do was sending out Redo up towards that San Martin Hill and using Redo as that information powerhouse over the likes of Indian Tigers, over 21, over TSM Entity is of course all meanwhile over on that north side still just down to one player. Shirties is the only one, and surprising that yet they still go in headstrong into the fight.
Yeah, of course, that is expected. You know, looking to see these players now just push on in. Of course, Shirty is just trying to make that final play up against the players here from the SKYLIGHTZ Gaming. So definitely expecting to see an interesting maneuver, of course, as E29 has been reduced down to their final play. But we see so many more engagements already finding its way on through that kill feed. You know, things really looking to heat up. And of course, as we now move up a little bit further right in towards a little bit more centralized angle onto the players here from 21 Esports, looking to see whether or not they'll be able to pick up any kills. Of course, right up ahead of them, we have the players there from TSM Entity. Oh, nice shot coming in here from Banyu. Oh, come on. Banyu. Will they be able to follow through?
They do take one down. Seagod as well now on their lonesome. Here comes the drive in. Banyu looking for the second pick. The beat bus. It is over the road. It is searching. It is scouting. Will not run anyone over today. But despite that, they just shoot them down. Into the sand they go. TSM already down 2 players, and it is a clean 2 up for 21 Esports. And controlling over that ridge line between Happy and El Patron San Martin Graveyard, a strong setup for now in the center of that zone.
Yeah, definitely a lot of teams really strongly set up. But of course now, as we hop over in towards Impala, we see the team here from EVOS just a little bit over towards that western side. And of course, the team now coming in here, BURIRAM, just holding this angle on towards the east. So definitely looking to see exactly how they are going to try and play this region. As EVOS, they're kind of relying on these compounds at the current moment. Of course, looking to make a potential positional play, but of course on that one we see Redface now having a little bit of a red face, running straight up into the bullets as the shots come flying through. And of course now KF moving up. We got Velmoth just up ahead. A quick little bit of a retaliation coming in here from the side of EVOS as they now look to apply the pressure onto the BURIRAM team. Of course picking up Velmoth in the process online, just on the front line here now, looking to maybe step in and capitalize on a little bit of the chaos that we have happening now.
The Kengzo on that off angle, it could have worked into even more, yet Kengzo unable to find that angle indeed into the fight. Just too much collision between the vehicles on the road and those members of EVOS. Lyzerg just peeking over the ridgeline for now, almost goes down, but does buy Sinew over to the other side. And now this is where EVOS are looking for that triangular position to try centralize back up. However, as you do look towards G9 in that tower with the high ground is pinning KF, and it does make it very difficult for the rest of these EVOS members to really find any angle in.
Oh, but the spray now coming through there from G9 straight onto the side of Redface. Some really good opportunistic plays coming in, and the reactions that we see here, I mean, this is absolutely just on point. Really quick reflexes now. We see the players here from EVOS taking a little bit of a disengage, trying to move up into a bit of a more safer rotation.
Well, on that kill feed, keep in mind for Angry Men do lose 1 through to Indian Tigers. They will also have Trace be knocked through and will be confirmed out for Angry Men do lose one player. And when we do look towards Indian Tigers, the Indian Tigers were a team who didn't look so strong when it came through in that first game, but Miramar certainly is their hotspot indeed, and they are wrapping and bathing in this heat because it is for Angry Men. They are the ones falling down. Lou now going to be the next to fall, and is only Tao left as the rest of these members come up clutch.
Oh, and of course, beautiful position there from Sarang up on that high ground angle. Of course, now we saw Lou just getting picked up in the process, but a quick retaliation coming in from Tao, picking up the knock. Up on top of the hill as the rest of the players here from the Indian Tigers now start pushing on in, looking to apply that pressure, looking to pick up the squad wipe on the side here of the 4 Angry Men. But of course now Tao just patiently waiting. As you can see, Prince already sending up a little bit of a util there. Oh, Savitar also looking to make that play. Oh, they come strafing on in, and Savitar picking up the 4 Angry Men. Really strong push coming in there, of course, from the players of the Indian Tigers. But now as we move on over to the players here from Eagle 365, they now coming in with a bit of a third-party potential of their own.
Eagle 365, yes indeed, they could come in for the third party, but I do suspect that they got those eyes bigger set down towards half the end of the baton, over towards that hill overlooking the eastern end of the compound, and particularly because of the fact that this zone has shifted hard towards that northwestern side. There is a lot of unused space, and because of this hard shift, we do expect that hill to be quite a space of congestion, but also those hilltops, as you saw all too well Saran taking advantage of around Crater Fields and heading in towards the very tip top of this zone.
Of course, you know, the teams will be looking to take that higher ground advantage. So pretty curious to see, of course, how they are going to play this. But now as we move over back towards that southeastern side, we see the players, of course, here from SKYLIGHTZ Gaming now moving a little bit closer, applying the pressure onto the side here of 21 Esports. We got Fluketh now looking to find a few hits. We got Bunk off in the distance, just making sure that they can't swoop in just yet. But we're seeing a nice bit of aggression as Ravenclaw and Flukes are the 2 remaining hopefuls here, looking to pick up the points on towards 21 Esports.
But it's disaster here, TK, and we don't even need Bunk on the offside. We're still gonna dive in anyways.
Oh, and up they come as Saisana now pushes in, but of course gets picked up in the process. Fox also getting picked up. Bunk now left to make the play for the team here. Of course, 21 Esports now feeling the pressure as the shots come on through there from the SKYLIGHTZ Gaming team. Really good response coming in from Ravenclaw and Fluke that they pick up the kill. And of course, sending them right back into the lobby. 21 Esports ready to wait for the next round.
Oh man, they get wiped off the backside. They went way too aggressive. Bonk was not there, and they paid for it so much. And of course, when you do look at this zone and we reset to the positions of strength, Tarzan, we talked about Oasis. He's been waiting for this Oasis zone for so long. And the fact that it is a possibility, yes, it's a slim one, but it's still there. And my hopes are up, DK. I'm hoping that we get to see an Oasis finish one day, and I'm hoping that this could be the day.
Well, of course, if it happens, you know, screenshot. That's what you gotta do. You gotta hit one of those up.
You rub it in. You rub the salt in the wounds. All of those months waiting.
Yeah. I mean, if not, why not? You know, might as well. Might as well. But of course, now speaking about might as well, right? Tofik, the last remaining hopeful for the side of FS 1952. Now looking to make that play. Now realizing that he won't be able to get that res on the rest of his teammates. Of course, now we have that pressure coming in. And they are looking to stay in this match as long as they possibly can. With SKYLIGHTZ Gaming now applying the pressure on it towards him. This is going to be a really difficult rotation. But of course now, just up ahead, we have the Myth. perched up on the top of the hill. So, I mean, FS, Tofik, it's going to be a tough one.
SKYLIGHTZ indeed. The other SKYLIGHTZ here from not Nepal, but from over towards Singapore, will be taking out the rest of FS 1952. They'll be saying adios to this second match as Myth, all they can do is watch as well. The zone will shift away from everywhere, but even more interestingly towards water treatment, keeping in half the end of the patron. And this is where the teams are going to be rushing toward the edge of that half the end of the patron hill, or rushing towards that water treatment. Because if you lose out on these locations and you're forced into the gutter in between these two spaces, it is death at the end of this game waiting for you.
Oh, well, that of course is what we are hoping for. We are hoping for some crazy intense plays and of course teams to move through. And as we look to the zone, it is already looking to be a really difficult call for a lot of the teams. You know, not a lot of options for them really to move on up into. So definitely looking to see, of course, what will come from that as we now jump over to the players here again from the SKYLIGHTZ Gaming. Just perched up on the hill. Got the team there from the Myth just up ahead of them. So they'll definitely be looking to making that play, looking to pick up a few shots in the process. But this is going to be a really challenging zone, as we can see, of course, so many teams already making those rotations, starting to move in. And this is where we could see the teams already pretty well set up within that zone, being able to capitalize on that positional play.
Course as well, when we look towards the south end, half the end of the patron, it still has some of the compound left inside of it. It's of course TSM Entity are looking to try control, but Orange coming off of that second place finish, they weren't quite able to take that first chicken dinner. And you can bet my hat here, if I was wearing one, you're wearing one sometimes, I know, DK, they will be looking towards that first place chicken dinner. And I mean, we can bet hats and all, but when you say your bloodlust in this game and you say the fact of how you want to see so much death, I'm tempted just to rename you totally towards this DKGR, DK Grim Reaper, when it comes to Miramar.
Well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, like, bloodlust could be... That's a thing. Right, that's the thing. I mean, and I'm hoping to see the teams, of course, bringing in that bloodlust. As you mentioned, we've seen some pretty impressive kill counts coming in that first match over on Erangel, right? Now, do you think we're going to see a continuation of that right here on Miramar, as we already see the players here coming in from SKYLIGHTZ Gaming sitting on 4 kills? They're looking to pick up a few more, as we saw Ravenclaw and Fluke bringing in some phenomenal plays so far.
I like that because they are only 2 players, that they are not going into the compound itself. They're taking use of the hill towards the eastern side of it. And because they take the hill, they get to have more information. Yes, they're not going to be in a more strong position overall in the zone, but they don't need to be, considering that the zone hasn't yet shifted, and it is about to shift once again, as it does go all the way up towards the north side. This is a dastardly evil zone, and it is going to force a lot of these teams down towards that compound. And the risk of that compound, yes, it's full wolves cover, but if you look at the surrounding terrain, it's all high hills. If you go in there, you best hope that that zone stays with you, because it is a risk to play for time and play for the chance of that zone staying with you. You can already see some of these teams deciding to go for it nevertheless, and one of those squads being blind, they are going to move in towards those 4 wolves to try and look for potential teams on their later rotations in, going for the same compound and taking advantage of that. But as they all well to know, here are so many different teams, and it just can't keep hold of all of them. Team Secret, they dive in nevertheless.
I mean, of course, now we see the team here from Orange just creeping a little bit closer. They can hear the engagement coming in between the players here from EVOS, REBORN, and the side there, of course, of the players from SKYLIGHTZ Gaming. But now we saw a few quick engagements finding their way on through, but Fluke now to see if he can pick up any points. He is now isolated on the side of the hill. We did see Ravenclaw, of course, not just rotating up on to the side there of the players, of course, from the EVOS team, making, you know, that one knock find its way through. But now this is a really tough position to be in as the squad from Orange come moving in, picking up the first one on towards Fluketh. Now, Ravenclaw looking to bring in a potential comeback, a potential retaliation on this front. But of course, now they need to focus on that rotation. Yeah.
There's no comeback. There is only death if you do go inside of that. And I know how much you want that, but Ravenclaw, you don't play for DK's hands. You gotta go down, Steph. You gotta go into the ridge line between water treatment and half the end of the Papillon. Yes, I said it was bad, but in this situation, because there is nowhere else to go, and because the way that this zone has gone, it is unexpected that you do go that way. And that is why actually Oranges are going to do just that. They're going to head down with Pov inside that ridgeline. Just keep Ravenclaw inside the blue, and Ravenclaw with time will also fall, but it is all up towards further north. EVOS are also struggling, almost surely going to have their one knock, but never mind, it is ITBF losing one also instead, and EVOS keep themselves alive.
But of course now we're gonna look to see how those rotations will come through as Lyzorg gets picked up and sent on over. Get ready to wait for the next match. Come back with a stronger performance. But of course now, as we look back up into the south of this game, we can see the players here now from TSM Entity looking to make that rotation as they now head on through to a more centralized position. Of course, right up ahead of them, we have the players there from BURIRAM just holding those angles. But this is where we see what they are made of as they now start to move in, applying the pressure. Beautiful bit of aggression, beautiful bit of a rush coming into the mix. Of course, the shots now, the hits, the action finding its way on through. And so far, I mean, a very fair exchange coming between the side here of BURIRAM and, of course, the TSM Entity players. But now, this is where we see the utilization, those nades finding their way on through as TSM now needs to look, the players here from Team Secret rather, need to make that play. They need to hold on.
But it is also the Indian Tigers cleaning up their own. It is Oranges also falling to Myth. Oh, meanwhile, as you say, BURIRAM up against TSM Entity inside the midst of all the chaos. The eye of the storm is still just as brutal as the winds around it. And BURIRAM, they have held on for now. They keep themselves alive. For the meantime, with 3 players, not so much can be said the same for E365. They will be the next to fall. And it is that south entrance opening up with all of these teams, allowing, of course, the likes now of the Myth, slowly but surely, to enter inside as well.
I mean, now, of course, we're looking to see what Blind will do. Will they give us an interesting play? The opposition down in the south, of course. That blue zone is making its way on through. Now they're looking to find their rotations as we have Psycho and Williams now looking to make a little bit of an improvement, just inching their way forward, leapfrogging up in towards the zone. But of course now on to the side here of SKYLIGHT Gaming, we can see Slayer just looking to slay as the squad is still sitting on a full team. Of course now a little bit of a 2-2 split here for them as we can see Savitar now coming under fire, but of course a quick retaliation coming on through, picking up the knock on towards Slayer. Now we see Pinky and the rest of the squad looking to make a little bit of a comeback, but of course Blind still just hanging on to the edge of the south. They need to get that rotation in, but of course now the shots are flying back and forth. 5 teams left to fight it out for this chicken dinner.
And it is BURIRAM inside that zone, DK. They look so damn strong. Yes, you had SKYLIGHT Gaming, this strong Indonesian team with 9 kills so far, looking into the top 5 as well. But they've spent so long looking for these kills and getting hungry for even more. The greed has cost them their position inside this zone. They have to go downhill in an open valley where BURIRAM hold all 4 walls of of protection of the only compound left inside the play area, and it is paying in so much kills for them. Now you see the definite death of Blind is a desperation play to drive their way in, but it's just not enough. And now also you have to look at ITBF on the backside as well.
Oh, but things are looking so tough as the players here from ITBF Dominators look to dominate. Already sitting on 9 kills so far. Really strong performance coming in from them, but of course now there's so many more potential kills for them to pick up. Of course, we also have the players there, from the Indian Tiger, sending the nade up onto Slayer, picking him up, and of course sending the team there from SKYLIGHT Gaming right back into the lobby. But now as we look up into the blue zone, we see Psycho there from Blind trying to heal off, hoping that the fight kind of concludes itself, that the game gets done before he himself succumbs to the damage coming in from that blue zone. Of course, now the Utils finding their way through Psycho, getting picked up by the blue. And now the players here from the Indian Tigers looking to make a rotation up from that northern position.
Still, though, it is going to be still BURIRAM holding on for now. I say holding on, but that grenade straight into smoke almost gets rid of 2. The molly will go wide. It will not keep them inside the building for now. The smoke holding in for vision. Line as well, going to hold even more smoke to create disorientation between ITBF. But ITBF, they're looking possibly for their first chicken dinner. It was them, apologies, to get that second place finish. Orange did end up in 3rd that previous game. But by golly, they are looking strong for this chicken dinner. And the Tigers edging their way into zone as well.
Oh, and here we go. The final showdown, the final rumble in this match. Of course, 3 teams fighting it out for that chicken dinner. Indian Tigers now just on the edge of the blue, a very exposed position they find themselves in. But of course, Prince managing to sneak up behind that ridge line. Now, with the smokes coming out, Savitar now having no other option, trying to evade the damage. But this is going to be interesting, especially for the players here from the Indian Tigers, looking to see how they're going to try and make their play. As we, of course, have the players here from BURIRAM just holding on at the edge. They're looking to put the pressure on towards the Dominators, who come into this final zone looking exceptionally strong. As we see Savitar now getting picked up in the process. But, of course, here we go. BURIRAM come in as G9 comes rushing out of the compound, picking up 2 knocks in the process. Looking to make it 4 as they look for that squad wipe. And, of course, they succeed in doing so. Oh, absolutely phenomenal play. But of course,
what was that? What was that? ITBF, they fell hard in the end of the final hurdle. They just took the post of their final hurdle to the face. It was BURIRAM to be able to take home that chicken dinner. 9-12 kills as well, picking up that final squad, picking up the Indian Tigers as well. A strong pickup of points for them overall. It was the Indian Tigers who sneak away that second place also with 12 kills. And as we say, ITBF, they have to settle for 3rd with those 7 kills. But overall, ITBF, the 2nd position finish with 5 kills. Now a 7-kill 3rd position finish. They're looking real strong when it comes to consistency. And if they can keep this up through the whole day, I'll not count that loss of a chicken dinner against them.
Well, it was a very, very close one. I mean, of course, bringing in quite a bit of a performance. But as we look over towards the players there from SKYLIGHT Gaming as well, you know, they finished off on a 10-kill game. So again, a really strong showing for them. Even though they finished up in 5th place, still holding their own all the way on through. But as we go down the list, looking at the teams, we see quite a few teams not being able to find any kills just yet. I mean, so strong domination coming in. Indian Tigers, as you've pointed out, also finishing off exceptionally strong. So, I mean, I'm kind of not surprised, but we have to look at Ravenclaw as well. Ravenclaw was able to pick up 5 in the process, though. So that was really, really well done. A good bit of aggression coming in there. And, of course, those positional plays really working out for them. Of course, also the players coming in there on the side of 21 Esports, bringing in also a 5-kill match for themselves. But of course, that is going to bring us to the end of our Miramar map. We're of course now getting ready to get into the next one, which of course will be seeing us heading right back in towards Erangel. So of course, stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break. Don't go anywhere. Hello and welcome back as we move into our third match of the day right here on the Thunder Cup. And of course, well, this is going to be pretty exciting. My name is TAKAE, and of course with me is the ever lovely Highland Wolf. Of course, Wolf. Now, we've been seeing quite a few interesting performances over the previous two games. Now we're looking to see that continuation as we return to Erangel, looking to see what the teams will bring.
Yes, overall it is going to be ITBF who are the most consistent team, who are looking to be at the top of this lobby so far. And the team that I'm going to be looking at personally, coming off of their second place win in the first match on Erangel with those 5 kill points, and of course then just coming out of their third position finish. Yes, they could have taken that chicken dinner, but they faltered a little bit to the side of BURIRAM. They did take that chicken dinner overall, yet the kill points that we were able to pick up, 7 in total, do to save them from a total disaster towards the end. And I think also looking towards a team that did really surprise me coming out of that Miramar game, and perhaps their strength is Miramar, is the Indian Tigers, taking down 4 Angry Men early with a brilliant positional play up on those Crater Field hills, overlooking the entire 4 Angry Men, even stopping them from escaping that fight to flush them out completely.
Yeah, that was really, really impressive plays coming in that early game. But of course now, we're going to be looking to see whether or not we'll have any of that happening on Erangel. As we've seen these teams just go at it right out of the gate. I mean, lucky for them, they can't fight up in the plane.
Yes, indeed. They can't fight up in the plane. Can you imagine if they put up in the plane, just the plane becomes its own map? That's a pretty small map. I think you would have to make it like, you know, Doctor Who's like the TARDIS. They'd have to make it bigger in the inside and the outside.
Yeah, they definitely would have to. But of course, now speaking about the outside, we've got that flight path coming in from just outside of shooting range and heading all the way down over in towards that multi-power direction. So definitely an interesting flight path. Nothing too extreme. But of course, we're going to be looking to see where that phase is going to be taking us. And of course, in the meantime, we're going to be looking to see also where the teams themselves are going to be dropping down into.
Expect, of course, the likes of 4 AM to drop down actually towards Georgia Pole. And also because we don't actually have Zeus here, I do believe they're not going to be dropping down as well in Georgia Pole. It is only going to be 4 AM up there, but also I expect them to make that rotation through to Yasnai Poliana, Rozhok, that should be left more open. However, saying that, you can already see the adjustments from a lot of these teams with that plane path, and understanding that already you do see FS and also the likes of SKYLIGHT making their moves up towards Zaki. And an interesting positional play to start off. It does work out for them because the zone stays with them on that western side.
Yeah, definitely going to be an interesting zone all the way over on the west. And of course, I always enjoy these western zones, especially when Chopsticks are in the mix, hoping to see a potential zone moving up into that direction. But as we now, of course, look over towards Rozhok and School, things look pretty hot and spicy. Things look like they could be pretty tough. Of course, we've got such a huge concentration of teams dropping in the vicinity. I mean, it is going to be a really tough region to defend.
Okay, but straight up ANGKOR, they have the best position when it comes to this over on Rozhok and School, because when you control the school and apartments area around that section, it is so hard to navigate. And I do worry, however, having one of their players away from that. Shroud is on the off angle. Yes, they go for the long range, and unfortunately for them, not able to pick this one up, as will be instead going over to 21 Esports. Oh, knock for knock, nevertheless, as it will now be Pain to clean up the second one. Will now clean up 2 in total. It is the cavalry of the Pain train, and they are arriving, blinding out the entirety of that half of 21 Esports.
And that was a really good aggressive push. Of course, they lost Williams in the process, but now this is where things are going to get pretty tough. I mean, even looking up in the north, the place there from FS in 1952, they are fairly spread out. And of course, we can see Entry now looking to make a bit of an entry into the later phases. Now just trying to stay pretty undetected, as we have the players here from the 4 Angry Men now moving in to position, and they're rushing up into the compound. So this could mean that we could potentially see Entry, facing quite a bit of a challenge.
This is what I love about 4 Angry Men, is the way that they are so aggressive. Yes, it sometimes doesn't pay off for them, and yes, they've had bad results so far, but the way that they take team fights is still exceptional nevertheless. This is why they were such a world-class team, and they take full advantage of that rotation of FS 1962, and 952 should I say, and as a result, they do take 1 kill already in this game, bringing them down to trio, in a difficult position still around SKYLIGHT over towards Zaki. Make that now a duo as they do lose their second player. Tofik as well going to drop.
Now, this has definitely been a really tough start for the side here of FS, as they now, as you mentioned, already lost 2 players. Sophic and Entry getting sent down. It is now up towards Sharp and Magnet to make that final play, to make that final show. But of course, now up ahead, we have 2 stops. Looking to make only 1 stop while putting the shots in to the side here of FS. But of course, now we've got Fluketh coming up this side. Looking to find the shots. Stoned also bringing in that extra bit of range support. And with that, of course, now we see Sharp X getting taken down. But now Magnet trying to make that play against the tree, of which where we see 2 stops just holding up. But a beautiful shot. He is so low on health. Of course, now, yeah, that is a really tough angle.
Really tough angle indeed. Will eliminate even before it, of course. Gonna be in that last position. Not where they want to be overall, but nevertheless, we do look our eyes towards where this zone is going to be going in the future and where these teams will end up. Now, for me, I'm actually interested about the fact that teams are using the South Island this time around, and I think that works a lot more in these teams' favors. Overall, 21 Esports dropping all the way over down in Novo. I think that it works very well for them to rotate then, of course, through that western bridge and in towards the south end. The only problem for them is EVOS, but with EVOS so split, I don't imagine that they will then look to make a full formation to gatekeep that bridge, understanding that nothing really came out of it in the first game and maybe anticipating that once more. But I also think that for Indian Tigers, instead of navigating round a tricky coastal line, they could also make the same rotation through that western bridge on the South Island. And now is the time to do that, I would argue. They don't wait on that decision, because if they do, you do, of course, have then the likes of BURIRAM behind him, forcing him into that fight.
Well, I'm also curious to see that position that we see the players from ANGKOR taking up in smack dab center zone. For the time being, it is a good angle to be holding right in the compounds there, of course, in the open fields. And the sooner the teams can situate themselves there, set themselves up and defend it, fortify it, the more they can try and benefit from those angles. Of course, now we see the players here from E29 and moving right up towards that. And of course, right on a cue, the players there from ANGKOR strike in towards them, picking up several hits in the process. Of course, Lycan getting taken out in the process. But now, this is where we see, you know, the players here from E29 put it on a little bit of a back foot as they move up in towards Chopsticks. And they're looking to make a good play from this angle.
Unfortunately, though, from Chopsticks, it is so hard to escape when it comes to that specific section. And I do worry for E29 later on if it does become a hot potential spot in the game. However, for now, as you say, it is a good overall position because teams won't be willing to go for it so early. On the other hand, though, it is going to be EVOS, so losing one player is E365 will be able to clean them up on their entrance in, and this is where the problem really does lie for EVOS. When they were so split, every single member but one of Sinio gets picked off one by one. It is nothing that they can do so far apart to be able to support each other. And when you do come to that 8-minute mark, I understand that you want to get more loot in through the looting phase early on, but 8 minutes in, you don't anticipate to be so split when there are teams, of course, inevitably going to be coming in across that coastal line.
Yeah, I mean, it is a pretty tricky play, but of course now, speaking about inevitable, speaking about tricky, right? We jump up to the players here from 4 Angry Men, who's now trying to apply a slight tad of pressure onto the side there of the Skylights. Looking to see if they can find that entry point. And of course now Trace looking to just pull out, or maybe even potentially lure out the players coming in from Skylights, and of course gets knocked out in the process. But this is now where we see a slight bit of aggressive rotation coming in from Pinky and his teammate there as they come rushing into the process. But of course now Chaomin coming in with the hits, looking to seal the deal, looking to seal the fate for the players of Skylights.
They went way too aggressive and did not understand that, of course, you did also have the Myth right behind them. It will be DXX just wiping them off the face of this earth as they do lose one, and now so split away. There's nothing they can do to defend this between 4 angry men, and they're allowed this free rotation through. Only Slayer to defend that bridge. But as soon as 4 angry men get one member across, you could even effectively have one member swim across while the others cover, but nevertheless they will go in for the fight in full 4 AM style aggression. The Myth as well gonna clean up through the final member and help clean up the entire squad of SKYLIGHTZ.
I mean, really great show of aggression. I mean, it is still the early phases. Now, speaking about early phases and aggression, as we hop over in towards Pachinki, right? The players here from the Indian Tigers really see them having lost the player in the process, as we see Sarang send off Prince, of course, being knocked out. But now SprayGod and his team, they're looking to make the last bit of play. Savitar and SprayGod are perched on the side here. But now, I mean, BURIRAM, they just pushing in. BURIRAM going for that position up in towards Ruins, and I'm really liking the initiative coming in from the teams. They're like, you know what, let's get a strong placement, strong position.
I like the overall that actually BURIRAM, but going past the Ruins, of course, towards the compound, overlooking EVOS, so they get the most out of their information. They don't decide to settle in a tricky position in the game, of course. They look for the high ground, they look for the overlook onto EVOS itself, and I assume with time they maybe even of course go towards EVOS. Still a very strong position in this game to be able to take full informational power. But if you look back towards Pachinki, and I want to talk about this even more, is teams being split. In Indian Tigers suffering that mistake, just like EVOS, when they're so split around Pachinki, they're trying to go for different plays, and because you're not on the same page, they fall and lose 2 members. And even if it's a bad play, you always stick together as a team, because as soon as you start to make different decisions, it just goes from bad to worse.
Yeah, and that of course is where the trick lies, is to make the best decision, you know, a decision that you can kind of stick with and follow through on. And of course, speaking about that, see the players here from Team Secret, they have a bit of a, well, not a bit, quite a bit of a split coming in between the team, really taking a 1-1-1-1-1 split across the board. Now, looking at who they're going up against, it's a bit of a tough call.
Indeed, ANGKOR also going to be going around the space between Ruins. Of course, BURIRAM, these 2 chicken dinner winners so far, currently settling towards a more central position of the zone. And you can see, of course, their SKYLIGHT, the other Nepalese team, going to be taking over EVOS. Going to be controlling it for now, nevertheless, to hold on to that informational power, as we do say so. But also, I think a smart rotation of the backside there from the Myth, out of the initial kills that they did get through from the other SKYLIGHTZ team, now entering in towards Hospital of the backside of the zone. They get the kills, but they're also evading pressure and playing for position in the zone, and playing for if it does go to that wide shift, because if it does go towards that northern side, and keep in mind we're only in phase 2, then it could be very good for them overall, taking advantage of teams coming out of the fields below them, and also coming down from EVOS. Only really a rotation far around the mountains in towards 4 angry men grant you a safe passage into Myth.
Well, I can tell you it is going to be a very interesting play, as we see the teams now, of course, looking to improve their position. The zone about to pop up once again, and it circles up, centers up over in and around EVOS and the Ruins, as well as a slight tad bit thereof, of course, the job stakes. But now we see those rotations come on in EVOS, looking to make a little bit of a play on the edge. But now the players here, of course, from the ITBF team, looking to move up right there onto the side of Everest. So really challenging position, but of course, as you've mentioned also, you know, the players there from SKYLIGHT's up on top of Everest. That could be a really advantageous angle.
We don't need to do anything, DK. We're just gonna sit and wait and watch the party unfold between all of these teams below them. Ruins in there, headshot kills in there inside of the zone. Even to an extent, Water Town could be used as an off-angle position to hold on to the edge of zone for now. I think this zone definitely does play to a very difficult level of overall play for these teams. Of course, the more stronger positions in the zone are unfortunately going to be Gatka fields. Not the phrase that you want to be using when it's only phase 3, but nevertheless, ANGKOR and also, as you can see, as you say, E365 tangling their way up against each other down in the fields itself. 5 kills already over to E365, and the momentum definitely paying off for now as they do even find that revive onto Anthem.
And of course, now the players here from the ANGKOR team looking to make that play for their own as well. As you mentioned, they are going up against E365, who's already sitting on those 5 kills. So from what we've seen, just the play coming in from E365, they can handle themselves. Right now we look to see whether or not ANGKOR will be able to stop them and potentially bring in a few kills of their own.
It will be interesting to see, as you say, if it can bring in those kills. However, if ANGKOR can shut them down, because when you look at ANGKOR's positioning and you think about the actual fields itself, they are still very clustered together. And this is overall, I would say, the right decision to make, because having the compound control when it is such a tricky zone allows you to stabilize inside that zone for another phase. And E365, they are also overlooking that as a further way into the zone, because these two teams are still, nevertheless, albeit on the edge of the zone, so they want to try and make a more stable play further up. However, as long as both teams live, neither of them can move forward.
That is very, very true. But of course, now we're looking to see who is going to be the team out of ANGKOR, and of course the best there from E365 to be the one who moves on forward, as we now wait to see where the next phase will be taking us. Blue zone, of course, closing, and we still now see the teams just trying to solidify the positions they've got at the moment. But I have to say, the players there from BURIRAM looking exceptionally good already in that center position within that zone. But of course, now that all depends on where the next zone shift takes us. If it moves up a bit extreme, it might be a difficult one for them to get out of, but also they might be quite safe in the next phase.
This phase now for zone, gonna move its way through over towards Everest, over towards the edge of Ruins. And BURIRAM, as you said, with that aggressive rotation, it's gonna just milk in that center position into phase number 4 quite happily. Is now, unfortunately, for decided Team Secret, they up themselves, coming off of 9th place in that previous game, looking for something. All they found is 1 kill. They grab a second onto ANGKOR. Not good at all for them, as they will lose their scout player, and ANGKOR down 1, still in the fight versus E365. Audrey has seen that through in the kill feed, and so is the rest of E365. Now you see them liven up. Now you see them start to circle in the compound with that advantage.
Oh, and here they come, sending on in. Of course, now we look to see also what the players here from ANGKOR will be able to do. Will they be able to stop the side of E365 from getting any additional points? This is going to be a pretty tough one. A 3v4 engagement just on the edge of zone. They've got a few seconds on the clock before that blue zone starts moving up once again. So there is a slight timer. Oh, but the nades coming in there from just space over on it to 0. Absolutely finding the spot right on cue. But of course, now E365 looking to wrap it up as they move in with the confirm. Blues now just coming in with a bit of an off-angle rotation there, looking to see if we can find any potential damage. But of course, now Anthem moving up, taking quite a bit of a damage hit in the process. Blues picks up the knock, comes through with a confirm. Now let's see the pressure come in. The aggression is mounting, and of course, E365 pick up the squad wipe, and off they go, left to fight yet another phase. But now coming in on the eastern side of the zone, we can see the players here from Orange just holding the angle, looking to find that entry on to the side of Team Secret.
I love the positioning coming out from Team Secret, and I love actually just coming through with Atomics out of that off-angle play, because they're looking over, of course, Indian Tigers, and they're using the ridge lines to their advantage as they oppress their way further into the zone. And they're gonna have to make those moves, because Phase 5 does move all the way over to SKYLIGHT and BURIRAM, still sat patiently waiting. It will be E365s to edge their way in. The Myth also going to be exterminated by, of course, not in CGS, of course, ITBF, should I say. Dominator gonna just dominate all of them. E365 with those kills, though, gonna pass their way into zone.
Oh, I mean, just barely on the edge of zone. As you can see, Audrey now taking aim over towards the Indian Tigers. The spray god is now getting caught in a bit of spray of his very own. But of course, a really quick retaliation coming in. Then, of course, from the side, they have Team Secret, Audrey, and the rest of the team here from E365. Now looking to be put on a bit of a difficult angle here. As well, just FaZe is the last remaining hopeful for the team. Beautiful pickings coming in there from the side, of course, of Team Secret. But now, will they be able to follow through and pick up that squad wipe?
Team Secret, their positioning works out for them. They also find even more with it. They're going to take it through to this positioning into the position into zone, more specifically, already now on those 5 kills. Looking for that last play of the Indian Tigers. Still E365 also down just to the solo player. And just pays, they can't hold off all of that firepower. And I love it what Team Secret are doing, because they know they're playing into solo players. They're going for that wider split, and they're trying to make the most out of their position at the moment before the blue zone comes in.
It is going to be a tough one. It is going to be an absolute tough one. We see Savitar, of course, now quickly trying to regain some additional health before that phase pops up once again. But speaking about popping off, the players here from Orange trying to hold up the edge of the zone, as we, of course, see the players here from Blind pushing up aggressively on towards them, paying the price for the aggression. The blue zone now coming into the mix, adding on to that, making it just so much harder for these teams. But of course now Savitar looking to put up the shots, finds the first hit. Oh, but Team Secret, they find the secret, and of course sneak their way on in, picking up the last few kills there along the way. But now, as we jump over towards the western side, we see the players here from ITBF looking to make their own entry. 4 angry men just up ahead of them. Of course, Tau so low on health. This is going to be an exceptionally tough one. But of course, on that, ITBF swoop in, pick up the kills, and back they go. But of course, now the 5 last final teams are left to fight it out for this chicken dinner.
Still with unfortunate their positioning once again for 4 angry men. They tried to go up onto SKYLIGHT. A desperate play onto Everest, but nevertheless, Everest just moves away from zone. They didn't have to go for that play initially, yet they forced their hand. They're eliminated out of the game. Team Secret still waiting patiently, not forcing anything for now, just slowly edging their way up, slowly but surely across the ridge lines, up to the top of the hill. They find a second now with shot popping off, takes down Popov, and now 2 more remaining for the Oranges. Can they squeeze them through?
Oh, I mean, they are just laying down the pressure. Of course, the players here from Orange faced with quite a challenging play. As you can see, of course, Mr. Uno now trying to make that play just behind the vehicle. But Team Secret, they are not backing out of this one. But now to add insult to injury, we've got the players here from BURIRAM moving in from that eastern side. Also just making Orange aware of their position. But of course now shots trying to push a little bit further up. Of course now Mr. Uno gets picked up in the process. as we now jump over towards the players here, of course, from SKYLIGHTZ. You can see them now trying to apply their very own bit of pressure on to the side there of BURIRAM, but of course now on line 24, just holding on at the edge, trying to find that angle. Team Secret up ahead. 4 teams now remain to fight it out for that chicken. Was Team Secret looking absolutely strong, coming in on a full squad still.
Still, as you say, strong full squad alive, but there too, I think the same coming, at least for a trio of ITBF, another strong positioning in 4th so far, looking for another top 3 finish. BURIRAM, they might not be long for as well, the solo player in amongst the greens and the oranges. It will be the Tic Tac colors taking them down. Team Secret will be able to finish that one through, but still SKYLIGHTZ, they have the smoke, they have the control. Now Team Secret, they have to make their final push up top side, but here comes ITBF as well. DreamMob also going to hold them down between the blue zone.
Kevin 007 and the rest of the squad also just now caught out in the blue zone. Ooh, Team Secret sending up the damage. Fluke now just managing to scrape through on almost no health. The final 3 teams, man, dude, this is absolutely insane. SKYLIGHTZ just bringing the pressure. ITBF bringing the pressure, and of course, the players here from this Team Secret, they are just bringing the pressure. This is an absolutely heated fight.
SKYLIGHTZ from their position over in Everest across this entire game, taking down 4 angry men once again, taking control as best they can across that roadside with the smokes, but they're running out of utilities. You can see Kevin playing the healing strategy. His Team Secret, still SKYLIGHTZ refusing to fight, and they are whittling their way down slowly but surely. And what do ITBF have left in Kevin to survive anymore? DreamMob now also gonna fall. Team Secret gonna pick up a second, and Team Secret surely got this game.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. They do have it. And, of course, what a really crazy play they had coming in there. But, of course, it is not over. Now it is. As they pick up the final player coming in from ITBF. Dominators just riding that blue zone as long as humanly possible. But, of course, Team Secret picking up a really, really strong match. They're on 14 kills. Absolutely phenomenal stuff.
We wanted these World League class teams to be able to step up, and by golly did they step up, as you say, taking home so many kills. Of course, a total there of 14, joined by that chicken dinner. But nevertheless, still, you can see ITBF, their second place now, joined up by their 3rd. Alongside of that, they got those 4 kills. Still going to be that strongest team compared to the rest in this lobby. Is as well SKYLIGHTZ stepping up strong, taking as well a beautiful 13 kills.
And of course, that is what you need. You need the consistency. I mean, we've seen consistency pay off time and time and time again. But of course, now speaking of consistency, an absolutely banger of a match we had here. I am so curious to get into the final one of today, to see what is going to be happening, what the teams will be bringing. And I'm expecting it to be absolute insanity, just based on what we've seen here today so far.
What we've seen here so far today is brilliant stuff coming out so far from the unknown teams, as we say time and time again. It is exceptional what is coming out between the level to take down some of these top class teams, alongside I think Oranges, also the other team to watch coming into Miramar game, I do imagine, for our final one here should be. And Oranges still a team that, yes, they struggled, but overall have looked quite strong. Keep in mind, this is now their 3rd, their 5th place finish. They didn't fall too far down when it also came towards their Miramar game.
So quite excited to, of course, get into Miramar to see what the teams are going to be doing and what level of insanity we will have alongside that. But of course, speaking of which, we're going to be hopping into a quick break, so be sure to stay tuned and we'll be back right after the break with that Miramar action. Hello and welcome back. Here we are moving into our final match of the day. Of course, right back on towards Miramar. This, of course, being the Esports Empire Thunder Cup. My name is DK, and with me, of course, is the ever lovely Highland Wolf. And we are looking to see what the teams will be bringing in this final showdown. So far, Wolf, this has been absolutely insane. Aggression all the way through.
Oh, aggression all the way through indeed is the only way you can spin it this way. And of course, when you speak about aggression, it has been some of the teams really came up surprising, and particularly, as I said, coming off of the break, even a team like Orange, who I didn't expect coming to be so aggressive on Miramar. But I think Miramar definitely shaping up potentially to be their map alongside their first match, nevertheless, with their third place they got on Erangel in the first game. But it is ITBF Dominator. That is the team that has impressed me the most. Getting now 3 games in a row, 2 second places, a third place, all with a decent amount of kills. And when you count into the fact that teams are playing 12 matches, and yes, you might have one standout game, but none of the other teams have been nearly as consistent. ITBF in the first day alone are already topping the leaderboard and are setting themselves up for a very good position to get into that top 7.
Yeah, so of course we're going to be looking to see exactly how the teams are going to handle themselves as we now move into our flight path. And of course, as we can see, it is situated coming in there from Impala, heading up in towards the northeast, ending up right there alongside Ruins. So very kind of similar flight path to what we had before, but of course now we're going to be looking to see how the teams are going to handle their drop locations, and of course where they're going to be going. Of course also that further southwestern side of the map could potentially just be a little bit out of reach. Of course now we'll see just how far these teams will venture.
I think this favors these teams very well, considering when you look back at the second game over on Miramar, a lot of these teams did obviously like to drop far north, but because of course Puerto Paraiso and Los Leones are now back into play, do expect these teams to change it up a little bit if that was their comfort spots. And you can already see, of course, 4 Angry Men heading down towards that Puerto Paraiso side, and Parla also getting taken up by EVOS, and even teams playing around the edge of Los Leones, taking example, as we say, heading into this one, a team to watch, Orange. And I think as well, never it's less to expect also half the end of the paths on. Of course, such a contested location with all of these teams. However, the trickiest phase 1 that we have had so far, it goes completely away from that plane path with about, I would argue, 65% of that zone completely untouched.
But of course, right out of the gate, the aggression is coming on through, as of course now we see the players here going it toe-to-toe, trying to keep in the map as long as they can. The team here, of course, from 21 Esports applying the pressure onto the side of TSM entity. And of course, now, well, 3 of the players have already been taken down. Now we only have power left to make that final play, and this is definitely going to be a really tough one, and they're having a really tough start though.
They are indeed, and if any compound is a compound to wipe players out early on, it is hands down this one on the edge, on the outskirts of Happy and Patron. In this house is the one place that you always see upsets, and unfortunately TSM entity, they are going to succumb surely to be that upset this time around. 21 Esports, they do find one knock against them, but still Spower is alive, finds a second one, but the HP bar is just not enough. Will go down to the third player, but it was a little bit dicey. 2 players, high health bar, that could have turned the other way.
Yeah, but of course, well, I wasn't expecting much else going up against the DBS. That thing is just an absolute beast when it comes to the damage it does. But now as we jump over towards the place here from the Myth, we can see them right alongside SKYLIGHTZ, just trying to hold their own as they fight it out for control of the compound. Of course, now Jersey already getting knocked out in the process. Now looking to see what the rest of the players here from SKYLIGHTZ will be doing. Will we see them try to move up and potentially get a few knocks, potentially a squad wipe onto the side there of the Myth?
The Myth, yes, they are looking to find one anyways against SKYLIGHTZ. They are successful for now. Bring it back down to that 3-on-3. And you can also see the 2-1 play coming through from the Myth does favor them for now. The one-off angle player allowing SKYLIGHTZ no room to maneuver here. Should I say a 4v3 advantage? Is even there the other player of the Myth, 8E88, moving their way down off the long flag side and making sure of it. This is why the side of SKYLIGHTZ, they cannot escape, they cannot move. They're forced into this fight, but they can't even position to play around it.
It's gonna be tough. I mean, definitely looking to see just what they will try and bring in. Of course, now Slayer steps up as Magamind steps in with a hit. Of course, now the players here from the SKYLIGHTZ gaming team getting reduced slowly but surely. Of course, once again, the DBS coming through for a little bit of a clutch, but now this is where we see the aggression mounting and the players from the Myth swoop in to end it off for SKYLIGHTZ Gaming. A really good show of aggression. I mean, we're only 5 minutes into the match, and we've seen 2 teams getting sent back into the lobby.
As well, it could be a third over towards El Pozo when you have to think about one of the leaders here, ITBF, joined now up against BURIRAM. And it was BURIRAM who got so far their third place position. They could have potentially even got, as we say, no, they did get a chicken dinner, excuse me, in the second game. It was ITBF who got third position overall. And these two powerhouses, when it comes to the Desert Dunes, I like currently the positioning more, however, of BURIRAM. And I particularly like the fact that the way they have handled the likes of ITBF and coming up together slowly but surely into a box formation. It was initially ITBF earlier who had also the help of Fragger to help defend against that formation coming together, but as they did come to a solo, now you do of course find that Monster is in a bad place, does get knocked, and that will be sent back through to a 3v4 situation.
But looking at the players here from ITBF, they are quite split up. Of course, now that could be quite beneficial for them, looking at the amount of aggression coming into them.
ITBF, they could, yes, go for a wider flank play, but considering how it is El Pozo, you don't want to go directly into the city, of course. You do want to maybe search towards those hills on the south of El Pozo. Those are where I think ITBF are going to look towards, but also the better option, I would say, is just head towards a place like Monte Nuevo and set up shop later on and play for the zone closer towards that center, because there is so much unused space. Keep in mind, with the playing path in relation to the phase 1 zone, there is up for grabs, and if they want to loot up, if they want to take their time and play for a slower game, play for position once again, that's the way to do it.
Well, it is definitely going to be an interesting one to see what will come from this. But of course, now as we look up in towards San Martin, we see a nice little bit of congestion there. Nothing too out of the ordinary. We have the players, of course, there from Team Secret just making their way through now as they start to rotate out. Of course, just up ahead of them, we have the players there from E365. Of course, also the team there from the Indian Tigers, just a little bit further down the way. So looking to see how the teams are going to try and rotate up in towards the zone. As we have, of course, seen, it is situated a little bit further over towards the western side. So a lot of potential spaces, as you've mentioned, a lot of openings still remain on this map. So I'm curious to see where the teams are going to go.
Around those hills, even towards the south, beside Chumacero, Minister Val, all of that high ground region, very, very strong for a team like perhaps 4am EVOS to look to control, especially considering that the zone had still for the majority part, yes, it's only phase 2, continued on that downwards trend. And I mentioned about this Monte Nuevo compound, and I think this is where, alongside heading even to Laterela, where it plays in such a good position, because you also have the crossroads there, more importantly, and a lot of those teams are going to enter through from that northern side, like BURIRAM, like E365, like also the Myth potentially, on a wide rotation around. So it is wise if you are looking for those few kills for, as we say, the likes of ITBF to be able to control that location, or as we say, move further ahead to Laterela. And when also you look towards this more central spot on the zone, it is very open, and that is why you'll also see teams favor, especially with this new shift, over towards Picado and those Picado Hills, because as you can already see, teams like Indian Tigers, who have already made that assumption move right when that zone shifts down towards Jumisera, now have to move their way back up, and they've actually lost their power position and gave it over to TSM.
Well, another power position we see as well is coming in between the players here from FS in 1952, and of course the side there of the Skylights. But now as you look to see what Ravenclaw and co will be doing as they look to find the angles, finding that first knock on towards entry, but of course a quick retaliation coming on through as Ravenclaw gets knocked out in the process. Now the rest of the team here starting to circle around as Fluke gets taken down as well. Two stops now looking to pick up the last few. Will he be able to find the hit? Oh, puts quite a bit of damage in, and with that, FS 1952 gets sent back right into the lobby.
Surely, though, for the side of Skylights, this could be a tricky engage after this fight, considering as well, more importantly, that they keep all 4 players alive. It serves them well for options once again heading into this next shift, because Picado is already controlled by 21 Esports, and it's quite difficult necessarily to get in or out of Picado by this stage of the game, which is why you also see 21 Esports heading towards that Picado hill, more importantly, because if they do get caught in Picado itself on the edge of zone, the hills around it don't play into their favor, so going to the high ground does make sense for them, and by doing so it also opens up at least one option over to the side of VPE, and overall I think Skylight, should I say, because if Picado now with 1 player only is very rushable.
Yeah, it's going to be quite a bit of a challenge. But now also as we look over onto the side here of 21 white, they just held up onto that mountain that you were talking about, just pushing up a little bit further, just out of Picado. But now we also see the players there from E29 coming in from a little bit more of an eastern angle towards them. So I'm curious to see just how far the players here from E29 are going to try and push. Of course, now as we see Mr. Tars trying to climb up the hill. The buggy not having the best time with that, but of course eventually manages to find the way up, and this could also be a really good advantageous angle.
An advantageous angle for sure here, particularly setting up shot for the fight versus 21 Esports later on. I think that this fares very well as a scout position, not having to take in the fight but still getting the high position information over the enemies. That's going to set them up strong, and it's also going to set them up strong for not only in front of them, but further coming down that hill to see even more teams later on using the scopes, of course, with the guns that they have picked up. And I think that now, because you have been able to suss out where they are, this is why they're going for that sneaky play. But unfortunately for them, they go way too far around, and KC Boy gets punished for it as a result.
Yeah, that was a bit of a risky rotation, of course, now, but Mr. Tars also facing a little bit of a challenge, as he is now isolated from the rest of the team. They were trying to sneak that approach in, bringing in that little potential for the knock there, but of course, really good play coming in on the side there of 21. But now, E29, they're looking to make a comeback.
I think what would have been good is actually if you use the vehicle sounds to your advantage to bait out 21 Esports. If they haven't spotted Mr. Tars by this point, they go towards the vehicle to maybe take the pick, and then from there Mr. Tars can find players. But unfortunately, it is Mr. Tars that has been found. Sun goes for the wide angle out, is able to pick them up, and this is just disaster for E29. There's just nowhere they can go, and there's no options left for them by this point other than to go for a very wide flank up towards the north side and play for zone, hope that it continues to shift there. But when the zone shifts, we do get to see if that will be the case. No, it will not. It will go all the way over towards La Reala, and this is where we said why Monte Nuevo. La Reala is one of the stronger places to hold, because when you are able to take advantage of the hills around here, when you're able to take advantage of the crossroads around here, you can pick up those kills, as I say.
Yeah, and of course now, as we quickly jump back over towards E29, we're looking to see what they'll be able to do. In the meantime, will they have the teams, of course, now starting to push further back up in it towards the zone as Mr. Tars just sacrifices himself right off the top. They're trying to get down to Lycan to get that race going. Of course, the players there from Blind also facing quite a bit of a challenge as the blue zone is now starting to pick them up. But now we jump up on towards ANGKOR. You see them right here alongside the players, of course, from EVOS. And we have a few utils already being sent across, trying to find the damage into the side of EVOS. But Lizer comes rushing in, of course, facing the scope, the barrel of the players. Just lying in wait there, of course, the team from ANGKOR just putting it down, that defensive play. And so far, they are looking pretty strong in this one.
But ANGKOR, with that position, with that mistake coming through, they were so aggressive. But EVOS, they should have held back, because now that they lost their backline member, they had to go for that full retreat to make that revive. KF, yes, they can try hold off for now, but it is a futile defense. 1v4. KF, you ain't gonna last long. Down they go into a puff, a whiff of smoke it out. And it's just the two remaining members, but even them, they're all gone. It's just all gone for EVOS.
Oh, and I mean, speaking about gone, the players here from the 4 Angry Men now moving up right behind them, looking to pick up a few kills onto the side, of course, of the players there from Orange. You can see the heads finding their way on through. 4 Angry Men now trying to make their best assessment of the zone as they now get ready to move a little bit further, a little bit deeper in towards the phase.
4 AM. They're going to have to use these ridgelines, so they're going to have to make sure they don't pull up too far. Yes, they do. They hold on for now. The aggression, the over-aggression has cost them previously, but they catch them out by surprise. They find one juicy one. There goes down Astro play. As a result, now you've only got DRG stumbling for that revive, but Astro, they got a long way to crawl over. Now come in, meet me halfway, says the rest of the teammates, but it's just too late. They lose one already. Now it's confirmed out. A second one almost falls. Here's Trace going in for the front line, heavy engaged, but he's on his own, yet finds it anyways, the 1-for-1.
Oh. Beautiful play coming in from both 4 Angry Men and, of course, Orange. A nice exchange across the way. But now this is a bit of a tricky fight as they are exposed. We also have the players there, of course, from ANGKOR just hanging about over on the offside there. But now we see the 4 Angry Men pushing up a little bit further, looking to close up the fight here, looking to pick up the final few points on it to the side of the players here from Orange. But of course, now that zone has popped up as well. We also see the players from 21 now swooping in behind the 4 Angry Men. So this could be a very, very interesting play as now 3 teams fight it out on this eastern end.
But he didn't play the ridgeline right when it came to the end of the fights. Once again, for Angry Men, the strong start, but they make the mistakes towards the final moments. And ANGKOR punished them with another knock, which forces them off of Orange, saving Orange's lives as a result, with also, as you say, 21 Esports in behind them. They have to now take another fight, but it's not Orange's. It is going to be that 4v3 advantage. But nevertheless, it will still have to play against 21.
Oh man, this whole positional play here is just starting to heat up so much As we got Orange in the mix, we got 4 Angry Men, we've got ANGKOR, and of course then the players here from 21 as they look to apply the pressure to get those points in onto the side here, of course, of the 4 Angry Men. The gentleman just up ahead. A beautiful nade now getting sent up. A little bit of damage, finding its way through on towards the 4 Angry Men. Up comes Vox, looking to close it up. Vex up the knock, and of course now Tao, the last hopeful, gets taken down. 21 coming in with a beautiful play right there, but now, of course, this is far from over as we hop in towards the zone. The players here from the Indian Tigers looking to close it up for Team Secret. Team Secret just down below, over in towards Monte Nuevo. Really good position here from the Indian Tigers.
But when you look when it comes to the positioning over on the hill, once again, BURIRAM, they're sneaking their way slowly in. They're taking one down of ANGKOR, and they're just going to control this position monumentally against the rest of these teams. You have to imagine maybe teams find something against G9 on the off angle, but their position is so strong as long as that zone continues to centralize around that top side hill.
Man, and it's going to be a really tricky one, especially for the players there from Team Secret to find a good angle in towards the zone. And now looking at the line of defense, or rather offense, we see coming in here from the Indian Tigers. This is going to be an exceptionally difficult one for Team Secret to pull off successfully. But of course, well, it is still doable, as we can see Fredo just turning around, putting the shots up in towards Prince. And now they start to turn the tables, but also they need to focus on getting back up in towards the zone, as we see that zone shifting up onto the hills just there on the side of La Drillera. So it is going to be a tricky, bloody fight for these teams to secure an angle.
There's no real way, though, for Team Secret with that open space behind them. The only way past, but they would have to still fight against Blind, who are setting up shop also on the outskirts of the zone. Yes, they do find Wikuai, one of those few single buildings still safe for the meantime before phase 5 enters its way into number 6, but it is albeit only going to buy seconds of time in a marathon of a position still to grab, and that is why they look for the fight. However, they just lose shot off the backside. Shot gets taken down by Indian Tigers. Yes, they lose Prince once again, but it is a 1-for-1 trade, and it's disaster for Team Secret as a solo.
I mean, Indian Tigers really facing a challenge here, of course. Now, having 2 players secured within the zone. And of course, as you mentioned, you know, we've got this solo straggler there for Team Secret, just trying to hold on to the edge of the zone. We've got Blind, of course, now also trying to make their very own run into the zone itself, as Williams gets picked up in the process. The vehicle, of course, getting exploded. But now Payne caught out in the blue, caught in the open. The shots fly in the blue zone, eating away. And of course, the hits find their way, as we see the Myth wrapping it up for them. But of course, Fredo here from Team Secret is not out of it just yet. Looking to find that play, looking to make the final rush, but of course gets picked up by the Indian Tigers. Now we jump over to the players here from SKYLIGHT, looking to hold their own on the edge of the zone, looking for a bit of a more western rotation, but the zone has shifted up on towards the east. We also have now the players here from BURIRAM trying to make their play as they are positioned, perched smack dab center zone. A nice high ground advantage for them to try and utilize off. And of course, now we see the team there from ANGKOR just up ahead of them. 21 right alongside them. A really tough, challenging zone for a lot of these players.
We said G9 was the entrance in, and these teams are taking G9 for a ride as they have to defend against a plethora of players around them. Now come into support, but could be too late. BURIRAM takes one down, nevertheless, with the help of Velmov. And that will be the side of ITFG losing one, or TBF, should I say, losing 1-4 now. But BURIRAM still G9 on their own on an island, as Bunk will also get knocked by side of ANGKOR. ANGKOR still up in this game. Do not forget, also inside the zone, it is these teams on the north side, like Myth, who could be the next ones to fall.
I'm really liking the spread coming out here from the BURIRAM team. Looking pretty strong. A nice split up there. And of course, being able to cover so many angles. But now we see the players here from Myth also trying to make a play as they look to gain entry in towards the zone. However, now the team here, of course, coming in from the ITBF Dominators are feeling the pressure. They're feeling the sting. Indian Tigers also just up ahead now as they succumb to the blue zone. So many players getting caught on the wrong edge of that zone. But of course, now as we jump back up in towards the zone itself, we see ANGKOR looking to make a play over in the southeastern corner. The players there from BURIRAM just dominating the zone so far. Not in it just yet. They have got one player setting up that anchor point. But of course, so far, they're just holding up the defense.
They're holding up the defense on a mound of rock amongst the open span of a desert. All around them, players looking to sum it up for some form of safety, but BURIRAM, they're not given an inch, and they will now search out for ANGKOR. Yes, they give time over towards the side of other teams, over towards the side of SKYLIGHT's gaming, but it is, albeit only a dim chance. Still, there are two members, Kengzo and Online, still up towards the top side of that mountain. Myth still alive, keep in mind. They were able to grab one player inside of the zone, keep them in contention for that top three.
And it's going to be quite the fight, quite the battle to make it into that top three. As we can see, of course, now Myth trying to make that push, but oh, the action is going down all over the place. Oh, everyone now choosing to decide, but Myth holding their own, of course. Now the players here from ANGKOR facing a really tough challenge. They now get caught in the blue zone, looking to find a sweet spot within the next phase. But of course, now here we go. Zero looking to make that play. He just saw the players there from Myth also now getting eliminated. So we are down to our final three. Oh, BURIRAM still bringing in the aggression across the board. But of course, now Stone looking to strike, gets the hits. Picks up on line 24 in the process. But of course, now Kengzo right there alongside him, looking to get a little bit of a retaliation for that, a little bit of a repayment, you know, on the damage. Oh, but of course, now
it's expensive.
Woo.
It is expensive. DK, it is down to just a solo. Velmov has to pay the debt that is coming due to him. Stoned goes down to 1 HP. Velmo's unsuccessful, but their position is now known, more importantly. And surely SKYLIGHT to just play for the zone.
Here we go, 2 stops now cooking up that nade. Of course, now Velmoth being forced forward as the blue close in. And down they go, picking up the chicken dinner. And of course, what a play that was. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. And I mean, what a zone. What a zone.
Neverlee's team take the chicken dinner, the final game. Imperial would be proud. DK is what I can say. They take it with 8, 10, 11 kills. Double-digit win. Yes, BURIRAM fall down short, but nevertheless, still, I think, a very strong showing and a very strong team coming through from BURIRAM in both Miramar games with that chicken dinner win. Almost a second, but fall short with that second place. But still, they pick up another plethora of 12 kills as well for them.
Well, this was a really, really impressive match. And just looking at the 5 teams, the top 5 teams, I mean, it is an absolute impressive show we've got. I mean, we're sitting here on 11 kills. We're coming in on 12 kills. Coming in on 7 kills, sorry. Then, of course, another 7 kill smacker there. Of course, then also then the players there from 21 finishing it off. Just bringing it in, 10 kill match. So really impressive stuff. And it almost looks like the top 5 teams killed like 80% of the lobby.
Indeed, indeed. And I think even to an extent, you have to still remind yourself that although ITBF Dominator, they got that 6th position, it was the worst game today. 6th position as your worst game with 2 kills is nothing to scoff at when you've been getting top 3s, of course. In every other game you've been getting kills. They're still going to be at the top, and I'm still very excited to see what they can do. I think their one mistake in this game, however, was not taking down the hill that actually BURIRAM chose eventually to take, because if any team had that positional potential to take down that hill itself where it was so strong, it was actually ITBF, because they rotated so early from El Porto, as you remember. Yes, they lost a fight. Yes, they lost a man. But for members, you saw how powerful it still was, nevertheless, for BURIRAM.
Absolutely phenomenal stuff. Insane plays. But of course, you know, tomorrow I am looking forward to seeing what we will be having as the teams are going to bring in that next level aggression. That's kind of what I'm expecting to see, right? Yeah. Just based on how today has gone, right? Just how the teams have just absolutely demolished the competition. I mean, tomorrow I think it's going to be on point.
Demolished my expectations here as well, DK. I would argue that a lot of these teams really did step up, and it was the teams that we never expected to be stepping up. However, I still think it is promising stuff coming through, as we say, from a lot of these teams and a lot of these smaller regions, especially in that final game from BURIRAM, and overall the Miramar games once again from a Nepalese team. And yes, the only Nepalese representative when it comes to these 20 teams today.
Wow. Yeah, it was just insane, but such a beautiful set of games already coming through. But of course, well, that is what we were expecting to see when we come back again in tomorrow's matches. Of course, there is a viewer match that is going to be happening as well, so be sure to stay tuned to the chat. Look at the details that should be dropping very, very soon. But of course, also, if you want to see the updated leaderboards, I'm pretty sure it's going to be posted on the Empire Esports social media, so be sure to check them out. Head on over towards the Instagram, have a look and see where the points are. But what a day, what an impressive show of games we've had. Of course, there we go, the details now being dropped in the chat. Be sure to jump in, join, get in, and of course, just you know, get involved in the matches. But of course, for us, it is gonna be the end of the broadcast here today. So of course, a big shout out going to the teams for just bringing that absolute insanity, as well as the viewers. You guys have been amazing. Of course, a lot of support coming in to the chat there for the team. So we're looking forward to seeing everybody back again tomorrow.
Of course, it has been a beautiful day, a beautiful set of teams here, DK. But of course, big ups to not only, I think, us as the casters, but to you especially for coming in, popping it off.
Yeah, well, we are here just doing our jobs, you know, everybody doing their jobs, the viewers doing their jobs, the teams doing their jobs, you know, and then of course, we sit here and try to make it interesting for everyone. So hopefully, I believe we pulled it off, but of course, well, tomorrow we'll look to pull it off again. Say again?
Listen to our banter.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
Nevertheless.
All right. There we go, guys. Have a fantastic evening. Of course, we'll see you guys all back again tomorrow.